Hi, Shamim Ajaz here. I'm PhD student in England. This talk aims to encourage early career researchers to reflect on their PhD issues with open-minded perspective and to take proactive steps to improve and maintain a positive professional attitude as well as take pertinent decisions during their research project, specifically when situation is uncontrollable for a PhD student. This will encourage the listener to think about their learning and decision making as research student. The learning outcomes related to this talk are to understand how to deal various situations during PhD journey and what step you should take when you decide to change your supervisor. Our aim is to give some practical advice on dealing with common difficulties during the PhD journey, specifically with researcher-supervisor relationship, and some providing some alternative sources of support outside the supervisory team. Unfortunately, researcher-supervisor relations are not always smooth. We will consider three of the most common problems that researchers encounter. You are struggling to meet with your supervisor regularly and you are starting to feel that they just do not care about you or your project. At that time, what step might you take to improve the situation? There are no hard and fast rules to resolve this type of situation, but the following may be helpful. For example, specify a time slot for your meetings and set them at regular intervals so that your supervisor will be less likely to forget. Maintain good relationships with your supervisor and well to see if they can suggest strategies for arranging meetings. Be prepared to compromise by accepting a meeting slot outside of your normal working hours if your supervisor is very busy. Talk to colleagues who know your supervisor well and if they can suggest any strategy. Know who you should talk, for example, postgraduate tutor if the problem persists. Second is that if you feel that your supervisor and co-supervisors are pulling you in various different directions and you are not sure whose guidance to follow, how can you resolve this problem? Being pulled in different directions by different supervisors is a common problem, but one that can usually be solved by talking the matter over with those involved. Remember that the direction your project will ultimately take will depend on many factors, including the history of the project and who has contributed to it, who obtained the funding for the work, the relative seniority of your supervisors and co-supervisors, your own wishes and interests. To avoid this situation, keep all supervisors and co-supervisors informed of any development and in particular of any changes in direction through email or meeting or anything. Arrange a meeting with all your supervisors at least once a month. You and your supervisors can agree a research plan with clearly defined roles for each person. Third scenario can be that you feel that your supervisor has completely unrealistic expectations. They really pile the work on, extra reading, side projects, and many more. Means overload. What could you do to solve this problem? Each researcher and each supervisor will have their own perceptions as to the amount of work that can reasonably be expected. For researcher, unrealistic expectation can take many forms, including too much reading or practical work, being asked to work on seemingly unrelated side project, or being asked to supervise something else, any undergraduate. Begin by asking yourself if why your supervisor is giving you so much work. Have they underestimated the time each task will take you? Are they trying to get you to manage your time more effectively? Do they want to challenge you or broaden your experience as a way of helping you to progress? Talk to colleagues if you are not sure. Then talk to your supervisor. Whatever the reason for the heavy workload, dialogue with your supervisor is likely to be the best solution. Be honest. Tell your supervisor about your concern and explain how the tasks they have given you are affecting your work or your work-life balance. Be proactive. Offer potential compromises or solutions if at all possible. This shows that you have given the matter some thought. Agree practical short-term and long-term goals to remedy the situations. After adopting all these strategies, if you still feel that you need to change your supervisor, think it is a regular, straightforward occurrence to change supervisor because one is retiring or leaving for another job. However, changing supervisors because of a severe breakdown in research supervisor relationship is not very common. But if you feel the need of this, it is a formal process. You need to think very carefully about your decision before you begin the process of changing supervisor. Make a right decision. Set very realistic expectations from another supervisor. Get advice and support outside of the specific area and find a new supervisor. During this time of chaos, there are a few people or some agencies who can help you. Your peers, student unions, student club, tutor, mentor, research offices of university, and there are many more. So try to get help with them and try not to be worried about these things. Thank you.